So let's go ahead and jump right in creating our first Java application. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create a Hello World application, the basic program that you create when you first learn a programming language, just to show that we can actually compile and build our application and we can print Hello World to the screen. Now, before we do this, what we're going to want to do is to make sure that you have the JDK installed. And in Java, you have a Java Runtime Environment, or the JRE, and a JDK, which the JDK is for software developers. It has the compiler in there. So you need to make sure you've got that installed and downloaded. If you don't have it installed, you can just search for JDK and it should take you to Oracle's Java SE downloads page. And here you can see the latest version is Java 7. You can use Java 6 if you want, but I'd recommend just go ahead and grab Java 7. And you want to download the JDK and pick the appropriate version for your operating system and run that. Once you have the JDK installed, what you're going to want to also make sure that you have is that you have Java in your path. And if we go into your environment variables on your PC under Advanced System Settings, you should see that you have a path here. And what you're going to want to do is to make sure that Java 7, if you've installed Java 7, is the first thing in your path, because there may be another Java executable that's under your System32, and the way that the path works is that it picks up the first one that gets loaded of something, so you want to put this into your path so that you can compile from the command line. And typically you're going to find the Java install under your program files, Java, JDK 1.7 or 1.6 if you installed 1.6, and then bin. And you just want to take that entire path and put that at the beginning of your path, and then of course a semicolon at the end of that so that the rest of the path can still work. Once you've done that, you can test this out to make sure that you have it installed correctly by typing Java and then -version. And you should see if you have Java 7 installed or 1.7, you should see that. And you should also be able to test Java C the same way to make sure you have the correct version. Those should match. If they don't match, then you've got a problem with your path. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and create Hello World, and I'm just going to do this in Notepad just to make this as simple as possible, and then we'll get into an IDE a little bit later. So I'm just going to type Notepad hello world.java. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to create our Hello World class. So we're going to create a class called Hello World. All Java programs have to have a class. It's object-oriented. Everything has to be inside of a class. So what we're doing here is we're just creating the basic class that our main is going to live in. And if you're familiar with C or C++, virtually all programming languages have some kind of entry point. Our entry point is going to be a public static void method called main. And if you're not familiar with these concepts, don't worry about it. I'll explain it later. If you are, then this is the method that you need to create. Don't worry if the syntax is not familiar to you. And we're going to take an array of arguments. These are arguments that would get passed in from the command line. And then from inside here, we're going to do system.out.println hello world. And what this is going to do is going to create a class, which is a basic module or unit that we use to divide our program up. And then inside there's a method here, which is basically a set of instructions that the computer is going to execute. And we have this special syntax declaring it. And then inside here, this is a method call that we are telling the computer to print the line hello world. Fix that. So I'll go ahead and save this, and let's go ahead and run this and see what happens here. Now the first thing that we're going to need to do is to compile this program. So I'm going to call Java C, which is the Java compiler, and I'm going to type hello world.java. And now you can see it's compiled because there's no errors here, and if we look in this directory, you can see now there's a hello world.class file. And if I were to notepad this hello world.class file, you can see it's not very friendly for us to read. This is the bytecode for Java. This is what the JVM can understand. So now we can actually run Java, which is basically running the JVM, and we can type hello world, not hello world class, just hello world. It'll find it inside the class path. It'll be able to find our program, and it will run that. It will use this class as the main entry point, and then it will run that main method. So let's take a look real quick one more time at our hello world.java file. And you can see here, this is the basic skeleton of a program. You have to have a class. So we've declared our class here. It's called Hello World. Inside here, we have to have an entry point, and our entry point is a public static void method named main. It's okay if you don't understand what this is right now. We'll explain that as we go further into the class. And then what we're doing inside our method is we're just printing out the text Hello World. So that's it. That's the basic Java program, the basic, most simple Java program that you can create. And we're going to do the rest of this class inside the IDE inside of Eclipse.